Ladies and gentlemen, there is something we all take for granted every single day. It is something more precious than gold, more valuable than money, and once it's gone, you can never get it back. That something is time. We all say, I will do it tomorrow, next time, someday. But let me tell you something. Someday is the biggest lie we tell ourselves. Someday is a thief. It steals your dreams. It robs you of opportunities. It keeps you stuck in a cycle of waiting while life moves on without you. Time is one of the most precious things we have, yet it is also one of the most easily taken for granted. It's something we constantly overlook, perhaps because it feels endless when we're young, but we soon realize that it is limited, and once it passes, it cannot be reclaimed. Every second that ticks away on the clock is gone, never to return, and once it's gone, it leaves no trace. No matter how much wealth or power you have, time remains the one thing you can never buy, borrow, or hold on to. It's easy to underestimate time when we have it in abundance, when we're caught up in the rush of life, busy with work, school, or our social lives. We make plans for tomorrow, next week, next year, and tell ourselves we'll get to things eventually, but in reality, we are often far too willing to squander it. We spend hours scrolling through social media, binge watching shows, or simply waiting for the right moment to act, and in the process, we don't realize that we're losing precious moments that we will never be able to recover. The minutes spent procrastinating, the hours lost in meaningless distractions, they slip away unnoticed, only to be regretted later when it's too late. Every person has the same 24 hours in a day, but how those hours are spent is what truly defines our lives. Some people spend them chasing their dreams, working towards their goals, and making progress each day, no matter how small. Others waste them on things that don't add value to their lives. In fact, time doesn't care who you are or what you want to achieve. It keeps moving forward relentlessly, whether you're ready or not. And once you realize that, it becomes clear that there's no time to waste. What we often fail to see is that time is like an investment. It can either pay off or it can slip away unnoticed, leaving us with nothing but regret. Every choice you make, every decision you take, shapes the way time is used. The projects you start and finish, the relationships you build, the habits you form, and the experiences you have, all these things require time. And yet, so many of us allow those moments to pass by unappreciated, thinking that we have time on our side. The problem is we often forget that time isn't guaranteed. We think there will always be more of it, but that's not the case. People who have lived long lives often look back with the same thought: if only I had spent my time differently. When we look back on our lives, we rarely wish we had spent more time working longer hours or worrying about insignificant things. Instead, we wish we had spent more time with loved ones, pursuing our passions, or doing things that truly mattered. As time passes, we realize that the things we thought were so important in the moment often turn out to be trivial. But once those moments are gone, they're gone forever. The opportunity to tell someone you love them, to follow your passion, or to step out of your comfort zone may not come around again. By the time we truly understand the value of time, it can be too late to do anything about it. And that is the cruel irony of life. Time doesn't wait for you to catch up. The clock keeps ticking whether you're ready for it or not, and before you know it, the days, months, and years have passed. That's why it's so important to recognize time for what it is, an invaluable resource that should never be taken lightly. Every moment matters, and every choice you make affects how that moment is spent. As we grow older and wiser, the importance of using time wisely becomes clearer. It's only when we understand the true value of time that we can start living intentionally. And by intentionally using our time, we can create lives filled with meaning, purpose, and fulfillment. But to do so, we must stop waiting for tomorrow, stop putting things off for later, and begin making the most of the time we have right now. Because the harsh reality is this: once time is gone, it is gone forever. And no matter how much we wish we could turn back the clock, we can never reclaim what's already passed. Someday is the most dangerous word in our vocabulary. It's a word we use to delay our dreams, to put off our goals, and to convince ourselves that there's always a better time ahead. We say, someday I'll start working on that project, or someday I'll pursue that passion, or someday I'll make that change in my life. But what we don't realize is that someday is never real. It's a mirage that always seems just out of reach. It keeps us in a state of constant waiting, forever hoping that the right moment will magically arrive. But in truth, someday is nothing but an illusion, a distraction that keeps us stuck in a cycle of procrastination and inaction. What is someday? It's a time that doesn't exist. It's a vague notion that we use to justify our fear of taking risks. It's the thing we say when we're too afraid to act or too unsure of ourselves to take that first step. We tell ourselves that someday we'll have more time, more energy, or more confidence. But the truth is, the right moment will never come unless we create it. The longer we keep saying someday, the more it becomes an excuse to do nothing at all. It's easier to keep postponing our dreams than to face the uncertainty of trying to make them happen. We also use someday to avoid confronting the reality of our own limitations. We're afraid of failing, of not measuring up, of making mistakes. But what we fail to realize is that failure isn't the end. It's simply part of the journey. If we keep putting off our dreams for someday, we're never giving ourselves the chance to fail, to grow, or to learn from our experiences. Instead, we stay stuck in a loop of perfectionism, waiting for the perfect moment that will never come. Think about how many times you use the word someday in your life. How many dreams have you put on hold, thinking that you would get to them when the time was right? But here's the truth. The time is never going to be right. There will always be something standing in your way, whether it's fear, self-doubt, external circumstances, or a sense of overwhelm. But none of those things are insurmountable. The only thing truly standing in your way is the belief that someday will be better than today. If you continue to wait for someday, you may find that your life passes you by without you ever taking action. You look back and regret all the things you could have done, all the opportunities you missed, and all the moments you let slip away. And the truth is, regret is far worse than failure. Failure is a lesson. Failure means you tried. Regret, on the other hand, means you never even gave yourself the chance to begin. The reality is that someday can't be trusted. It's not something you can rely on because it is always just out of reach. The truth is that someday is now. There's no magic moment that will come to you in the future to make everything fall into place. The power to change, to act, to move forward lies in your hands today. You don't need to wait for perfect circumstances. You don't need to wait for all your fears and doubts to disappear. You just need to take that first step, no matter how small, and begin. The longer you put off your goals, the more you start to question whether you'll ever achieve them. You might wonder if you missed your chance or if it's too late to start. But the reality is that it's never too late as long as you're still breathing. If you don't take action now, you'll spend the rest of your life wondering what could have been. So stop waiting for someday to come. There's no better time than right now to start. You have the power to create your own opportunities, to carve your own path, and to make your dreams a reality today, not someday. We often think that time is something we manage, something we control. But in reality, it's the opposite. We don't waste time, we waste ourselves. Time doesn't care if you're using it wisely or if you're squandering it. It's relentless, moving forward regardless of what you do. But what really matters is how you choose to use that time and whether or not you're making the most of who you are in the process. When we waste time, we're not just letting moments slip away, we're allowing our potential, our passion, and our purpose to fade into the background. We're not living up to who we can truly be. When you waste time, you're not simply watching the clock tick away. You're watching your best self pass you by. We all have a unique set of talents, skills, and dreams that are meant to be realized. But when we get lost in distractions, in procrastination, in endless cycles of self-doubt, we abandon those parts of ourselves, the potential we have to achieve something meaningful meaningful or to make an impact on the world gets buried beneath the weight of excuses and the comfort of doing nothing. It's easy to tell ourselves that there will be another time to act, another chance to chase our dreams, another moment to start, yet that moment never comes. What does it mean to waste yourself? It means that you're letting fear take the lead over action. It means you're letting self-doubt hold you back instead of pushing yourself forward. It means you're too afraid of failing or making mistakes to even begin. So you sit in limbo, paralyzed by what ifs. You tell yourself that the world isn't ready for your ideas, that you're not good enough, that you're not qualified. But the truth is, no one is ever fully ready. The world doesn't wait for you to become perfect. It waits for you to show up and take that first step. If you keep wasting yourself by holding back, you'll never know the heights you could have reached, the things you could have accomplished, or the people you could have inspired. We are often our own worst critics. We talk ourselves out of taking risks, of stepping out of our comfort zones, of moving forward. We waste ourselves by comparing ourselves to others, by questioning our worth, by listening to the voices of doubt instead of the voice of possibility. We convince ourselves that we need more time, more knowledge, more resources before we can begin. But the reality is that the perfect conditions will never arrive. There will always be obstacles, doubts, and challenges. What truly matters is not whether the conditions are ideal, but whether we have the courage to start in spite of them. Wasting yourself doesn't always look like doing nothing. Sometimes it's about doing things that don't serve you, like staying stuck in a job that doesn't fulfill you, or holding on to relationships that drain your energy. Sometimes it's about holding on to old habits that no longer align with who you are or where you want to go. It's easy to get comfortable in these situations because they feel safe, even if they're not moving you forward. But every time you choose comfort over growth, you waste a little bit more of yourself. The more you avoid change, the more you avoid becoming the person you were meant to be. Wasting yourself can also be seen in the way we allow ourselves to be consumed by distractions. Social media, entertainment, and mindless scrolling can become a way to escape reality, but they also take us away from the things that truly matter. The time you spend in these distractions isn't necessarily bad, but if it takes you away from pursuing your goals, building meaningful relationships, or developing your skills, then it becomes a waste. We've all fallen victim to the allure of these distractions, and when we wake up from that daze, we realize that the time we've spent scrolling could have been better spent working towards our dreams or growing as individuals. The reality is, time is gonna keep moving. The clock doesn't stop, and it doesn't pause for anyone. Every moment that passes is one you can't get back. But the good news is that you have the power to choose how to use it. You have the ability to decide whether you're going to let time slip by while you waste yourself, or whether you're going to make the most of every opportunity, every challenge, and every moment that comes your way. Time is precious, and it's not the time that's the problem. It's how you choose to use it, and whether or not you're using it to bring out the best in yourself. When you stop wasting yourself, you stop holding yourself back from the life you were always meant to live. Regret is one of the most powerful emotions we can experience, and it often carries with it a weight that is hard to shake off. It's something that can stay with us long after the moment has passed, lingering in the background of our thoughts, reminding us of what we didn't do, of the chances we missed, and of the opportunities we let slip away. In many ways, regret is far worse than failure. Failure teaches us lessons, builds resilience, and gives us the opportunity to try again. Regret has a way of haunting us, making us question what could have been, what we might have achieved, and who we could have been if we had only acted. It makes us focus on the past rather than the present, on what we didn't do instead of what we can still do. When we fail, We learn, we stumble, we fall, and we get back up. Failure doesn't define us, it refines us. It gives us the chance to evaluate our mistakes, adjust our approach, and come back strong. But when we live in regret, we are paralyzed by a sense of lost time. We beat ourselves up for not taking action, for being too afraid, for waiting too long. We look back and wonder why we didn't try harder, why we didn't take that risk, or why we didn't seize that moment when it was right in front of us. The pain of regret comes not from the failure itself, but from the knowledge that we could have done more, that we could have been braver, or that we could have stepped out of our comfort zones and taken the leap. And that knowledge is far more difficult to carry than any failure could ever be. Regret doesn't just come from big decisions, it's also born from the small moments that we let slip by. It's the time we spend on the sidelines waiting for the perfect moment that never arrive. It's the dreams we put on hold, thinking that we'll chase them when the time is right, only to realize later that the time we were waiting for has already passed. It's the relationships we didn't nurture, the opportunities we didn't pursue, and the risks we didn't take. Regret is a reminder that time doesn't stop, and if we don't take action when we have the chance, it may be too late when we finally realize what we've lost. We often think that regret is something that will fade with time, but in reality, it doesn't work that way. It lingers, and sometimes it grows stronger as the years pass. We might tell ourselves that we'll eventually get over it, but the truth is regret doesn't just fade into the background. It leaves an imprint, a feeling of missed potential, a whisper that reminds us of what we didn't do. And while it may become easier to ignore over time, it never truly disappears. The opportunity to act, to take that chance, to step outside our comfort zones, it only comes once. Once that moment passes, there's no turning back. The worst kind of regret comes from the things we never did. It's not the mistakes we made or the failures we experienced, but the opportunities we let go because we were too afraid or too uncertain. The fear of failing can hold us back from so many great things, and it's easy to let that fear prevent us from acting. But the truth is, failure is far easier to cope with than regret. When we fail, we gain experience. We learn what works and what doesn't. But when we live with regret, we only learn what we could have done, and that lesson doesn't help us move forward. It keeps us stuck in the past, paralyzed by the thought of what could have been. At the end of the day, regret isn't just about looking back at missed opportunities. It's about understanding that you had the power to change your life, to make different choices, and to take risks when you had the chance. It's about knowing that the path you're on, the decisions you make now, are shaping the future you look back on. The fear of regret should be a powerful motivator to act, to take that leap, and to stop waiting for the perfect moment. Because the perfect moment never comes. The only moment you have is now, and the only choice you have is to make the most of it. If you don't, you'll find yourself looking back with nothing but regret, wishing you had done things differently when you had the chance. Living with urgency is something many of us struggle with. And it's not because we don't know that time is precious. It's because we fall into the trap of complacency. We think that there will always be more time, that we have endless opportunities to make a change or take action. The truth is, life doesn't wait for you to be ready. It keeps moving forward. And if you don't keep up, you may find that the moments you thought you had are gone before you even realize it. The urgency to act, to move, and to pursue what matters doesn't come from external pressure. It comes from within. It's the inner awareness that time is limited and that every minute you waste is a minute you'll never get back. We live in a world where distractions are abundant, where we are constantly bombarded by the noise of everyday life, and it becomes easy to lose sight of what truly matters. It's easy to get caught up in the daily routine, to check things off your to-do list, to go through the motions, and to think that you're moving forward, when in reality, you're just drifting along. The problem with this approach is that over time, the sense of urgency fades. You start to feel like there's always tomorrow, always another chance, and the fire inside you burns out. The most dangerous thing is not that you're failing or that you're stuck. It's that you've lost the urgency to move, to take action, and to make the most of the time you have. You become comfortable with the status quo, even when you know deep down that there's more for you to do. What happens when we stop living with urgency is that we stop making decisions with intention. We get caught in the trap of waiting for the right time, for the perfect moment when everything aligns and we feel ready. But the perfect moment never comes. It's a myth that we tell ourselves to delay taking action. Living with urgency means recognizing that there's no time like the present. It means taking action now, even when things aren't perfect, and trusting that progress comes from doing, not from waiting. If you're constantly waiting for things to be just right, for the conditions to be perfect, you're wasting the opportunity to move forward. And without forward motion, nothing changes. When you live with urgency, you approach each day with intention. You wake up with a sense of purpose, knowing that every hour is an opportunity to take another step toward your goals. You don't wait for inspiration to strike, you create it. You don't wait for someone to push you, you push yourself. You don't wait for the world to tell you it's time to act, you take action when you feel the pull inside of you, even when you're uncertain, even when you're afraid. Urgency is the fire that drives you, the awareness that every moment is valuable and that the longer you wait, the further you push your dreams and goals away from you. In many ways, urgency is the antidote to complaint. It's the wake-up call that reminds you that life is moving, whether you're moving with it or not. It's the recognition that the world doesn't owe you anything. It's up to you to go out and create the life you want. Living with urgency isn't about rushing through life or acting without thinking. It's about being intentional with your time, recognizing that time is your most valuable resource and using it wisely. It's about knowing that every day is an opportunity to make a difference in your life and the lives of those around you. When you choose to live with urgency, you also choose to live with purpose. Every decision you make, every action you take becomes a step toward creating the life you envision for yourself. You don't allow distractions to pull you away from what matters most. You don't allow fear or self-doubt to paralyze you. Instead, you embrace the discomfort of taking action, knowing that progress often requires you to step out of your comfort zone. Urgency means understanding that the present moment is all you have, and that if you're not using it wisely, you're wasting your chance to create the life you want. Living with urgency is not about rushing through life. It's about making every moment count. It's about being fully engaged with the present, recognizing that you can't afford to waste time waiting for the right moment. The urgency comes from knowing that there's no better time than now to take action, to make a difference, and to move toward the future you want. The clock is ticking, and if you're not living with urgency, you're letting your time slip away. One moment at a time. Time is a finite resource, and it's easy to forget just how precious it really is until we look back on it, only to realize how many moments we let slip by without truly appreciating them. Life moves fast, and before we know it, we can find ourselves wondering where the years have gone. But if we're truly honest with ourselves, we'll see that the moments we let pass were opportunities we didn't seize, relationships we didn't nurture, and experiences we didn't fully immerse ourselves in. When you fail to make your life count, you're not just letting time slip away, you're also letting your potential, your purpose, and your chance at fulfillment fade into the background. We often get caught up in the hustle of everyday life, checking off tasks, meeting deadlines, and going through the motions. We get busy, and in that busyness, we lose sight of what truly matters. It's easy to forget that life isn't just about ticking boxes or crossing off to-do lists. It's about making meaningful connections, chasing our passions, and leaving behind a legacy that reflects the person we were truly meant to be. The danger of simply going through the motions is that we fail to create memories, experiences, and opportunities that define who we are and what we stand for. We forget that every day, every minute is an opportunity to live with intention and purpose. Making your life count isn't about about achieving monumental successes or gaining fame or wealth. It's about being present in the life you're living. It's about investing in the relationships that matter most, dedicating time to your passions, and striving to make a difference in the lives of others. It's about choosing to live in a way that aligns with your values, your goals, and your dreams. The problem is that too many of us are waiting for the perfect time to make these changes, to start doing the things that truly matter. We think that the right time will come eventually, but the truth is that the right time is now. The time to make your life count is not in the distant future, it's today, in this moment. When you make your life count, you stop waiting for permission. You stop looking for external validation. You take ownership of your time, your choices, and your actions. You stop allowing fear or doubt to dictate your decisions, and instead you choose to act in alignment with your values regardless of the obstacles in your way. Making your life count means being brave enough to pursue your dreams even when they seem impossible. It means finding the courage to take risks even when the outcome is uncertain. It means deciding that your happiness, your fulfillment, and your purpose are worth the effort it takes to get there. Every day is a chance to do something that brings you closer to the life you want to live. Every decision you make, no matter how small, shapes the direction your life will take. And when you live intentionally, those small decisions add up to create a life that is filled with meaning, purpose, and impact. Making your life count isn't about having it all figured out or reaching some specific destination. It's about living with the knowledge that each step you take matters, that every moment is an opportunity to grow, to give, and to contribute. Too often we become so fixated on the future that we forget to live fully in the present. We set goals and make plans, but we fail to realize that the only time we have is now. And if you're always waiting for the right moment to make a change or to do something that matters, you're missing out on the opportunity to make that change today. Life isn't about waiting for things to happen. It's about making them happen. If you're not actively pursuing the things that matter most to you, you're letting time slip away. You're allowing yourself to stay stuck in a cycle of complacency and missed opportunities. The reality is that life is short and we don't know how much time we have left. We may think we have all the time in the world, but time doesn't work that way. It's not guaranteed. And that's why it's so important to make your life count, to invest in the things that truly matter, and to use your time wisely. Life is full of distractions, of things that demand our attention. But when we stop and ask ourselves what truly matters, we can shift our focus back to the things that will give our lives meaning. Making your life count is about recognizing that your time is precious and that every day you have the opportunity to create something beautiful, something lasting, and something meaningful. Don't wait for tomorrow. Make today count, because today is the only time you truly have.